Most people are exercising and rehabbing their movement blindly. Your brain and nervous system are constantly communicating with you, and it's time that you learn how to listen so that you're training smarter, not harder. There's a new fitness trend, neurofitness. And while it's super exciting seeing neuroscience cross over into the exercise world, which, hey, I'm a part of that too, but I'm also seeing a lot of generalization when it comes towards brain-based movement. First, please understand that all movement is brain-based. Second, whether it's a vision drill, a vestibular drill, train your cerebellum, working on balance, sensory re-education, it sounds great, but it may not be great for you right now. And that's why it's important for you to better understand what your brain and your nervous system is trying to tell you so that you're not wasting your time with a brain-based exercise that just isn't working. How does the brain work with the stimulus? It's an input coming through the nervous system to communicate with the brain so the brain can make a decision of what it's going to do with this input. Then creating an output that we would recognize as really strong movement, motor control, mobility, flexibility, good balance, and a good attitude. Now, I did a video earlier having you better understand when the brain responds through startle reflex. This is you really understanding when the nervous system tells you, heck no, this is not what I'm familiar with. In today's video, I want to go over a baseline that you can use with movement or strength or balance so that you can assess, do a drill, and then reassess and know what your nervous system is telling you. Now, with learning that information, we've got to categorize it. So you're also going to learn 3 categories that you're going to put that information in and what to do about it. So I'm going to show you just a couple examples of what you can do for a baseline. Now, you can choose any movement you want. Maybe you're working on a squat, a pull-up, working on your balance or a yoga pose. You can assess with anything, but I'm going to show you an assessment of mobility with my shoulder and spine. This one tends to work as long as you're not moving into pain. Now, I wouldn't necessarily use pain as a baseline to assess and reassess from. It's not that it doesn't work, and when you find out, oh, that got rid of my pain, super cool. But using it always as a baseline, please, for just a real quick abbreviation of pain, it's an experience. It's a little more embedded in the brain, and one neuro drill may not be exactly what it takes for you to create that neuroplastic change. Coming into shoulder flexion, you can do this a few times as a lot of people are very convinced that they have to warm up. You can also play with shoulder extension, aka hyperextension, and see how far your range of motion is here. Next, it's really important to know how your internal and external rotation is. No matter how you're assessing the shoulder, make sure that you're not using your head and that you keep the elbow locked out. You can work with flexion of the spine. The knees can be slightly bent. You're looking to see what the spine will give you. Final rotation is a really cool one to assess with, finding a mark where your foot can always come back to, palms come together. Don't slide the fingers around as you turn from left to right, choosing an object that you can keep towards so that you know how far you're able to rotate the spine. Now let's hop into strength. One thing about strength is on a scale of 1 out of 5, you want to be more around a 5, 6, 7, not a 1, 2, 3, because you need to have some wiggle room that if the drill had the nervous system respond with less strength, that you're going to be safe with your movement. There's 2 ways of assessing strength: how many repetitions and then how heavy the load. Which, by the way, if you're liking these videos, click like and subscribe because I've got so many more exercises coming your way, and now you know how to read your nervous system, so hey, I'd say you're halfway there. And a goodie is always knowing you can assess balance in a narrow stance, a staggered stance, or a single-legged stance, eyes open, eyes closed, and even with your head turned in various positions. This will give you information. Now, what am I supposed to do with this information? This is when we come into your 3 categories. Category number 1 is going to be a positive response after a drill. This is going to be put into your golden nugget category, essentially a high performance drill that teaches you the brain is saying yes and to use this before any activity because you're receiving a really good output with this stimulus. Now, on the flip side, maybe you assessed poorly. You didn't have as great range of motion, your balance was all over the place, and your repetitions or your strength wasn't as great. You're going to put this in your deconditioned category. Essentially, it's your rehab category. This is your brain telling you, yeah, that was not my jam. It's really just information that you needed to possibly regress the movement. Maybe you need to do it smaller, less time. Maybe you simply needed to eat something or take a break and breathe. There's so many reasons as to why, and this is why I don't think of reconditioning category as bad. It's just we need to look at this movement a little differently. And then we have the third category, which really is just neutral. You didn't get worse, but you didn't necessarily get better. So what are you supposed to do with this? It doesn't mean that that stimulus wasn't good. It just means maybe it wasn't loud enough. Maybe you needed more frequency. Maybe you needed to stack it with a breathing exercise, a tongue drill. All this will be done with me as you continue to move with me through my Movement Library YouTube series. This is an opportunity for you to really understand neuroscience, because you're going to hear a lot of fun things out there, but you need to know what is best for you. Learn to listen to your nervous system so you can train safe and get better.